Hi, I'm LDS and Medium, and thank you so much for tuning in today. I want to try to bring religion and spirituality closer together, and this is what this pod is all about. I will talk about my own thoughts and feelings as I am both LDS and have spiritual gifts, something that I've had my whole life, but I always thought that it was hard to combine these gifts with my religion. This has torn me into two directions, and I have talked to many people who feel the same way. I can't choose not to have my spiritual gifts, but I can choose how I use them. And I always want to use them for good and to help others. I believe my heavenly parents gave them to me for a reason. So, this is me. Join my quest for knowledge.
Tony Robbins Day 2, Day 4.
Today we're going to talk a little bit about I must participate in my own rescue. And that is a lesson that I've learned. It's tough, it's hard, it's very lonely, but it's so rewarding.
When I listened to that, the first thing that I thought about was addicts. How the first step for an addict is to actually admit that they have a problem. You can't save an addict. They have to change themselves. You can actually not change anybody unless they want to change. You can only change yourself. And so the other person can only change themselves also. I found another Albert Einstein quote that actually fits in with that. A happy man is too satisfied with the present to dwell too much in the future. No, not that one. Just kidding. So Albert Einstein said, women marry men hoping they will change, and men marry women hoping that they will not. Invariably, they are both disappointed.
That actually makes me laugh a little bit because I think well, in my case, I think it was true. I have a tendency to look to potential, what they can become or boyfriends when I grew up, what they could become. I could see it in them. I could see how powerful they could be, but not who they actually were, which inevitably led to disappointment and breaking up. And so now I'm trying to focus on me and what I can become. And it is a one-person job. Well, you can have support system. Last summer, I participated in the 4-week wake-up call. This awesome member of the church had free 4-week Zoom for people that was struggling, and I was one of them. And I'm so grateful for the opportunity that I had to listen and to be part of that group and that community. And I'm so grateful for everything he did for me. But the thing is that no one can save me but me. Well, that's not true actually. There's only one person that can save me, and that's Jesus Christ. Without his atonement, I wouldn't have a chance to come back. But because he came to earth and he died for me, then I have a chance to come back. But the work is up to me. I need to do the groundwork. I need to be the best person that I can be. And I need to take control over my life. No one else can do that. And I know some of the issues that I have and some that I'm working on. And I was looking back into my life and I realized I get very quiet. I stop communicating when I am faced with powerful males that has a tendency to tell me what I should do. My dad was that. He was a powerful male that told me what I should do. And I got quiet and I got rebellious in my head. One of my longtime boyfriends was that. He told me what to do, and if I didn't do what he wanted and expected of me, he would freeze me out. He would totally ignore me and treat me like I was nothing. And I was more broken from that because that was such a psychological warfare and I was so devastated. And he used that as a tool against me. And so when I met my ex-husband, I was really broken from a previous relationship. And I was quiet because I'd been conditioned not to talk. No one wanted to hear my opinions. No one wanted to hear what I had to say or what I had to think, which meant that we were married for 20 years. And I lived most of those 20 years in his world or in my head, because he wasn't really interested in me either. I doubt that he knows the color of my eyes, but I don't think he knows my favorite color. He probably knows that I like dogs and wolves, but I don't think he knows why. Because he's never asked me, and I never told him. We lived for him and his family and with the kids and his job. But I wasn't part of that, and I wasn't interesting to him. And looking back, it has always hurt me, but I've never stood up for myself. I never told him what was in my heart. I never told him because when I started telling him, he was like, oh yeah, and then he went away and started doing other things. And he wasn't mean, he was just not interested in me. And so I was quiet, became more and more quiet. And that is something that I'm really working on. I don't think I have a problem with communication. I speak fine with my friends and my family. But when it comes to men that I have feelings for, I tend to regress and I tend to be quiet. And that is something that I know in order for me to have a working relationship in the future, I need to speak my truth without being so fearful of hurting the other person that I end up being quiet. And so that is what I'm working on. That is my biggest problem right now. Probably why I'm using this pod. Here I have to communicate. Here I have to speak. I have to tell you what's in my heart and what's in my mind. And I'm just putting it out there for the world to hear. But you put someone in front of me, a male that tells me that I should do something. In a blink of an eye, I'm quiet, I'm introverted, I'm so different. And it's like a reaction in my body. I can't even control it. It's like fight, flight, or freeze. And I freeze and I become quiet. And I have these thoughts in my head like, you shouldn't tell me what to do. You should ask me questions. I'm a person and I have my views. But I'm so used to being quiet that I don't open my mouth. And so that is what I'm working on right now. That is my goal for this year. That when I'm put in situations where men tell me what I should do, I will say no. That is not what I want to do. This is how I see it and this is why. So that's what I'm working on. I'll keep you updated. Maybe I'll heal even more. Oh, I'm so agitated right now. I can't even breathe. My breathing is up in my ears right now. I need to calm down. It's hard to be this vulnerable. It's hard to put myself out there. But I know that I'm doing this to be the best version of me. And maybe someone out there is like me, have a hard time saying, have a hard time talking their truth. And so let's learn together one step at a time.
I don't know if you ever thought about how important your mind and your thoughts are to your whole being. Tony Robbins, he said that your mind and your emotions are connected to our body, and that our identity is what influences us every day. I've seen a lot of people online in a group that I partake in that is about divorce. I've seen a lot of people reaching out. They're distraught. Maybe they were left. Maybe sometimes they were the one leaving. But it's a lot of broken hearts, illusions and dreams that has been wiped away, and they're left feeling that their whole world is turned upside down. And some of these people have been in this for months. Some have been in this for years. Some are still suffering. But I think that you have to want to move on. And I try to tell them that over and over again in the group. I try to give them hope that you can actually move on. You can have a new life. And I tell them, focus on what you have, focus on yourself, focus on finding yourself, getting to know yourself again, getting new hobbies, doing things differently. You have to take your mind off what was before. And so they have to rescue themselves from what was. They have to be in the present and they have to rebuild their future. They have to conquer their future. But first of all, they have to first grieve. And then they have to want to be rescued. They have to want to move forward. They have to want having a new life, finding new love, being happy again. I've also gone through a divorce. And I really buried myself in work and the children. I took care of them most of the time. And they were my children and I loved them dearly. And time went by and it took me about 6 months when I went to work one day and I realized that I actually felt happy. And then the thought struck me, well, if I feel happy today, what have I been for the past 6 months? Even though my relationship was not good and I'm actually happy to be out of it, I had to pull myself up and I had to move forward. And I was firm in the faith that I could actually become happy once again. that I was worth loving, and that I could have the family that I always wanted. So you have to want to rescue yourself. I always say that you have to be your best friend. If nobody else is cheering for you, then you really need yourself in the corner. You need to look at yourself and see the beauty within. You need to look at yourself and feel worthy of love, and feel worthy of having a loving relationship and a supportive spouse. You need to work on yourself to always be better and to keep moving, to spread love and joy around the world. Like we end this pod, we always say, one person can make a difference, and together we can change the world.
So today we talked about I must participate in my own rescue. And that is true. If you're in the water and someone tosses you a lifeline, you actually need to grab onto it in order for them to be able to bring you in safe. But it's up to you to grab and hold on. And for me, this has been a lifeline. It's been something that I'm holding on to. It's been something where I can take my knowledge and my experience and just send it out to the world. Just share my thoughts, my views. In that process, I learn so much about myself, and I grow so much. So this is my lifeline, and I'm holding on to it, and I'm learning that I can communicate, and I can be strong. And like on the 4-week wake-up call, we got an assignment that we would have like a power sentence. I freaking rock. And we'd say that to ourselves. I freaking rock. And I was like, can I twist it a little bit? So I was like, I'm a freaking goddess and I rock. Yeah, that sounds more like me. So that's been my power sentence. I'm a freaking goddess and I rock. And so, yes, I am. You are. And together, if you save me, maybe I can help save you. And that is my prayer. That we together can save each other. But it starts with you. Be the light, share the light, spread the light, shine. This is my journey. Thank you so much for keeping me company today. Please download, like, share, and subscribe, and help spread the light and spread the word to expand our community. Let's bring more love, peace, and unity to this world. Take care of yourself and your loved ones. Always be grateful, kind, and loving. Be brave and remember to step out of your comfort zone and smile. If you support us on Patreon, you will get access to our meditations and extra materials so you can download them as MP3. Also, we now have a Facebook group, which you can access from our Facebook community. Please answer the questions as you apply to participate. It will be a safe haven where we can keep discussing religion and spirituality, our spiritual gifts, and self-development. Remember, one person can make a difference, but together we can change the world.